2013 question 4. Scandium is a metal. Scandium in its compounds exhibits only one oxidation number. Now, oxidation numbers, you'll learn more about this in in redox reactions. That's book 2b. But even if you don't know that, you'll learn that you'll still be able to do this question. The chemical formula of scandium nitrate is Sc with a bracket NO3 3. Which of the following is most likely to be the chemical formula of scandium phosphate? Now, to tackle this question, we first need to figure out what is the charge on scandium ion. So, to handle this question, let's find out what's the charge on scandium ion. So, we're given scandium nitrate is having this chemical formula. And back then, I did teach you how to find out the charge for the ions. And one way is actually you have to memorize some of the more common, maybe I'll write it on the side here. You need to memorize some of the more common ions, their charges, especially their charges. Say, for example, nitrate ion here. Do you guys know what is the charge on nitrate ion? Yep, it's NO3 minus. Maybe to make it more easy to see, I'll use different colors. So scandium nitrate here. So scandium, I'll put it down here. Do you know what's the charge on it? Yes, we know it's a positive charge, but we don't know what's exactly the number. But for nitrate ion, do we know what's the charge? Yep, it is 1 negative. Okay, we don't write the 1, of course, because just like in math, it doesn't look good. We don't write the 1, but we know there is a negative charge there. Okay, now, what can I do with this? How actually do we get this number on the top here? How do we get this chemical formula for scandium nitrate? Yep, back then we did learn something about finding the cross method, doing the cross method, and then finding the chemical formula. So here, after doing this, you would also need to know how to do the cross method. Now let's do that together. Now to do the cross method, very simple. You take the charges from each side. So here, let me put scandium at the bottom here. Now what is the charge on scandium? How do I know what's the number on scandium? So yep, I'll take the number that is on the opposite side, on the opposite charge, and put it down below here. Now what's the number here? As we know, nitrate ion is a 1 negative charge. So supposedly over here, I'm going to write 1. But just like in math or in chemistry, actually, we don't even write the 1. So we can omit the 1. We're not going to write it. So I've rubbed it out here. And also, I can double confirm it. I can double check it with my original question here. So here, supposedly there was a 1, right? And you can see there is no number here. There's just a blank. That means supposedly there is 1. Okay, do the same thing for the other side. I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to get the charge on this side. We're going to get the number. And we're going to put it on the nitrate. So here, let me write down the nitrate, NO3. So what's the number for that? What's the number? And as you can see, that of course right now there's no number here, but I can look at the question, right? I can see from the original question. From the original question here, what's the number that you see? Yep, you see that there's a 3 here, right? So whatever number that's supposed to be here, it's also, you can just copy it from the question. So here I'm going to write down 3. And I know this number came from the question on the top. So here actually I can fill it back in on my scandium ion up here. I'll put it inside that box. It is 3 plus. So there you go. With the help of the cross method, I was able to figure out that scandium, it has a 3 positive charge. So now that we know scandium has a 3 positive charge, now let's try and solve our question. It says, which of the following is most likely to be the chemical formula of scandium phosphate? Now here, again, now that we know scandium is having a 3 plus charge, let me write it down here. Scandium is 3 plus. How about phosphate? Now, as I said, we need to memorize some of the more common ions and their charges. So phosphate here, it has a charge of, it's PO4 3 negative. Yep, PO4 3 negative. And now that I know the charge, can I find a chemical formula? Yep. And how can I find a chemical formula? It's again with the help of here, the cross method. So let's do the cross method for this. I have Sc3 plus, this is scandium 3 plus ion, and I have phosphate ion, PO4 3 minus. Now what I'm going to do, same thing, I'm going to go grab the charge, the number from phosphate, and bring it down here. And scandium is going to have a number of 3. Okay. Same thing with the other side. I'm going to grab the number from scandium and move it to the other side here to phosphate. Now PO4 3. Now here, if you just leave it like this, it will mean that there's 43 oxygen atoms. Of course, it doesn't make sense, right? And that's why we need to add a bracket, and so that it represents for the whole molecule here. So we add a bracket here. Okay, so I'm going to remove the arrows so it's easier for us to see. And there you have it. We have Sc3 PO43. Now, is this the final answer? You'll see that none of these match our options here. Now, the reason is because you'll need to double check whether you can further simplify it. So here, I'm going to add one last point here. You need to check whether you can simplify it or not. Is it possible to simplify it? Can you do that? Yep, you can see on both sides there's 3. So you can cross it out. When you cross it out, what do you have left behind? Yes, you have scandium, Sc, and then choose the same color. You have phosphate. Do you need the bracket anymore? Nope. Once you remove the number, as I said, you don't need the bracket anymore. So you're just having SCPO4. Now, SCPO4 would be your final answer. And your answer for this question would then be B.